welcome to Stock Talk. This is your host, Scott. Hope you had a good week, good weekend. Pretty relaxing day, beautiful weather today. Out actually fishing off the pier today. No bites, but it sure was nice to be out there. Had a good time just relaxing. Taking a look at the market tonight, just going to see what we got to be in store for tomorrow. Take a look at that, take a look at our portfolio and see what we did on Friday. As well as I want to talk about these ETFs and kind of give us an update on where we're at on those, and just kind of go through that spreadsheet that I had shown us before, and we're going to get an update on exactly where we are on those ETFs. All right, so let's jump into it and let's just take a look at our portfolio, talk about Friday. Hang on just a second. So here's our portfolio. We did have a red day Friday. The market was down 915 points, so it did pull back after having several days of a good little run there, but it did take some of that back on Friday, 915 points. So that was a tough way to end the week, but of course it's Friday, and that's what people do a lot of times. They sell and get on the sideline because I guess they're afraid of news that might come out. But that's what happened, but we did have some green ones, as you can see here. So that's always good when you have a 900-point day down and you still got some green ones. That's always good. That helps cushion the blow. So let's take a look at some of these green ones. We had Peloton up almost 1%. We had Novavax up another 2.5% almost. Novavax has had a pretty good week. Let's take a look at that. And it's been on a pretty good little run here. If you can see here, we were starting the week out around, around 1024 and ended up at 1305. So that's a pretty good little return for the week, and we'll take that. Not disappointed in that at all. So hopefully we'll keep that little run going this week with Novavax. It's been one of our good ones lately. Let's see here. We had MPC just barely made it to the green. As you can see here, it kind of flirted with it all day, but pretty much flat for the day. ACB's been on a good little run too. Let's take a look at that as well. It did close above that dollar mark, and that's what we needed to do, because we needed to close above that dollar mark for several days in a row, so it will not be in any kind of danger of being delisted. Okay. So it started the week around, let's see here, around 73 cents, and it went all the way up to close at around 104 or 103 here. So that's quite the run as well. Of course, when you're less than $1, it doesn't take much percentage-wise to get the things to go, but that's pretty good. We'll take that. Nothing wrong with that at all. And that's a good close. We want that 103. We want it to stay above that dollar for a few more days at least. I think it's 4 or 5 days. I think it has to close above that. So we need to do it all next week. We need to get out of that danger of delisting, because that's not good news ever. All right, and so that's let's see what our big loser was on the day. We had X was down 540, and actually it was worse than that. I bought in all 3 accounts. Bought X in all 3 accounts. I'm still cost averaging that one. I think I got it, 553 in all accounts. So that was a pretty good little buy for that day. I mean, it was down here near the low. So 553 was a good buy, but can't understand why that thing has not just settled down a little bit. I guess it's when the price of a dollar goes up, that still gets hurt a lot of times. So the dollar has been going back up, and anytime you see that, a lot of times that still suffers from that. Okay, so we're going to keep a lookout on that dollar as well, but still counting on this one down the road. Not anything soon. That one there, I'm really counting on something like an infrastructure bill, something like that to come down the road, and that may be something once some of this dust settles that the Democrats and Republicans can get together on. They don't seem to have a problem spending money, so unfortunately, but that's the way it goes sometimes. But we do need an infrastructure bill to probably pick that steel market up and get it going. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at our futures and everything, see what's going on in the market tonight, and then we'll jump on that spreadsheet. So the futures are down about 1% across the board. Oil looks like it's down as well. Let's take a look here at Trump. I don't know if you saw it tonight, but he did extend the guidelines through April 30th, trying to keep that death toll below 100,000 in the United States. I mean, the worst case scenario, they're talking about 2 million folks. So uh, that's good to see that we've got this extended. Hopefully that will be what we need. They talk like they're hoping the peak will be around Easter time, and then it should start trending down from there. So let's hope that's what happens. Everybody just needs to follow those guidelines and see if we can turn this thing around. We don't want to be in real bad shape here. But that's going to be the deal. I mean, we're going to be watching that. It's going to affect the markets. You can bet on that. Asia tonight, we've got a pretty good hit here going on in Nikkei, 3% down. So that's a tough road for them. We've got 1% in Shanghai, 1.5%, and then we got Hong Kong at 1 3/4. All right, so let's take a look at our oil. We just took a glimpse at it a while ago, but it is down 5.5%. And it says here that crude oil futures slide as pandemic darkens demand outlook. So that is not going to be good for anything but gas prices. Okay, as far as our MPC, that's probably not going to help us either. So that's the way it goes. But at least we're getting some good gas prices. But this stuff will turn at some point. I'm not worried about that. Let's see here. So that's pretty much it. So we're going to wait and see what happens tomorrow. We're at 247 right now, down, but you know that can happen. That can change by in the morning, one way or the other. Could get worse, could get better. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed on that. So what we want to do next is I want us to go back and look at that spreadsheet that we had a while back about with our 4 ETFs that we're holding. Those ETFs, just a reminder, are things that track the market. And if you'll recall, we did sell half of one the other day, the DIA. We did sell that at a 6% gain. So we're only holding the other half in the TD Ameritrade account. But I'll talk to you about that. Let's go ahead and pull that spreadsheet up and take a look at that. Did a little work on it tonight for us to look at. Let me get that up. And so here's our spreadsheet. And if you recall, we kind of laid out what these things did back in 2018 after the drop of 19%, and showed you how those things turned around and had a wonderful next year or so. So that's what they did then. And then we talked about how far off the bottom we were and how we would, tracking if the same scenario happened this time. But I've changed some of these numbers here, so we're going to talk about that. But here's what I wanted to show you. I want to show you what these lows were on March 23rd this year. The lows for each one of these, the DIA was $182. The low for SPY, $218. The low for VTI, $109. And the low for QQQ, $164, almost $165. So those are the bottoms. Those are the bottoms right now as it stands. All these could go lower, but those are the bottoms. So what we want to look at is the current price of these things, okay? And now this says, this is the price that I bought them in TD Ameritrade. You can see here, the low was 182. I bought this at 220. I'm in at 220 on that one, okay? The low on this one was 218. I'm in at 276. Now, if you'll notice on Fidelity, okay, Fidelity, you'll see a little bit different story. Here, I actually cost averaged down. Instead of being at 220, I was cost averaged down to 207. Okay, and that's what cost averaging will do for you. So already we were able to sell that at 220 and make a 6.28% gain. Okay, so that's what we've done. If you see that, it's sold. This is sold because I've got it highlighted in green here, so something's already happened with that one. We're still holding this one, but we're in at 220 instead of 207. Okay, on the TD trade. But this current price is 216, so we're only down 1.8% on that one right now. Okay, so a good week, we may end up selling that one if we can get up to around this 6% or 4%. Because we've only had it about a month, so we'll just check and see. SPY's low was 218. In TD account, we were in at 276, so we're way off the bottom there. Okay, all right, so we got a ways to go on that. We're down 8%. All right, on the Fidelity side, where we do cost average, we did cost average on that one. A little bit better position there. We're at 261 instead of 276. So we're only down 3% there, okay? None of this has been sold because you see these minus signs in front of them. We don't sell with those minus signs in front, okay? All right, so VTI. If you look at VTI, the bottom was 109, and you'll see here that TD, we're in at 148. We cost average on the Fidelity account to 141. Not much difference there, but you can see the percentage-wise what the difference is there, okay? All right, so we're still 14% from being even and almost 10% from being even there. QQQ, okay? QQQ, we're in at the same price on both of those. Have not cost averaged that one as much as I'd like, but we're at 212. The bottom was 164.93, so we are, the current price is 185. So we're almost 13% from being even on that one. So, all right, so that's where we're at on these things. But I wanted to show you if we follow this same scenario. I've kind of plugged in the worst case scenarios here on the TD because that's the ones that are the least cost average. So that's what we're looking at. So I took this 181.82% and just followed our same scenario from last time. And so 6 months later, if we were off the bottom from 1.82%, you would have had a gain like this 6 months down the road, 22% a year later, and then at the high, you still had a gain of 25%. So you see what that time does for you when this thing turns. So that's what we're hoping for, a similar scenario. We like I said, we've already got over here to this one. We already were able to unload it because I'm not waiting for any of anything like this. Okay, it's great if you want to hang on for stuff like that, but I'm going to take that 6% in about 3 weeks or 4 weeks all the time. Because one reason is, you'll notice this, we sold at 220. And the current price now is here, 216. So it's already dropped $4 since we sold, so we may be buying back into this at some point. And so we might do this 3 or 4 times in that year's time. Okay, which would be fine. It actually average out more than this probably. But that's all, that's all guesswork right now. We're not going to do anything right now. We're just trying to get some cash back to the sideline. All right, so let's look at SPY. Take the worst case scenario of 8.33%. You'll see here what kind of shape you would have been 6 months later, 1 year later, and at the high, you were at 25%. All right, so Fidelity, not quite as bad right now. You'd be even better here. VTI, you look at it, and we're at the worst case scenario at 14% off the bottom. This is where you would have ended up 6 months later, 1 year later, at the high. None of these are bad returns. None of these are bad returns. Even this one right here, that will beat a CD today, okay, in 6 months. And the 1 year CD does not pay anywhere near that, okay? It's a lot safer, but you pay for risk. And that's how you make money. You risk it. All right, so QQQ, we got that worst case scenario of 12.74%. You see your returns here if we've had the same kind of turnaround as we had before. All right. I'm not expecting necessarily that kind of turnaround, but you never know. But any of these returns are good. So that's fantastic. The goal here is possibly what we want to do with those ETFs, ideally, I want to cost average those some more. All right, so the first thing I got to do is get the cash on the sideline from selling other things that we bought. So that's what we need to do. I mean, if we can get the rest of that DIA sold, then we'll have a little money on the sideline. We might cost average those other ones, or we might just jump right back into the DIA. Probably do that. Probably just go right into the DIA again, because I like to have it kind of spread out on the 4 different ones. Okay, then we sell something else, then maybe we'll buy into cost average on those other 3. All right, but that's kind of the game plan. We're going to keep an eye on those and sell them when we can, and we're going to cost average them when we can. All the other ones, we're just kind of cost averaging those as well. The goal right now for me is trying to get cash on the sideline before this thing drops anymore. As you can see, Friday we had that 900-point drop. Our portfolio didn't do that terrible though. It was a little bit down for the day, but it wasn't as bad as the market, I don't believe. So that's always good as well. So tomorrow, that's what we'll be looking to do. Is we're going to be trying to look for a good buy. If something comes across the way, we got a little bit of cash. I prefer to build up that cash though, because I'm afraid that because this news is going to get worse on this virus for the next couple of weeks. The death rates, and it's just going to get probably uglier and uglier the more people start, dying and things like that. So it's going to probably affect the market in a negative way. I can't see it being anything good for the market, but we'll see. You never know. We've also got Novavax out there that's working on a vaccine. Anything that comes out on that Novavax vaccine for this coronavirus is going to probably get a little pickup on that. Not to mention the nano flu that just passed phase 3 with good news. And so any more news about that, it's going to be something to probably pick that Novavax up. We're going to watch the volume on it. The volume hadn't been real heavy, but we got to keep, if that thing hits 2 or 3 million shares in the first hour or so, that's usually a pretty good volume day, and it picks up from there. That's always a good sign when we get a lot of volume. So that's what we're going to be looking for, those type of things there. I hope we have a good day tomorrow, but it looks like we're going to start out in the red, and that's okay. We'll just ride it out. That's all we can do. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like the video if you enjoy it, and then also subscribe. Would love to get some more subscribers, and tell your friends about the channel as well. And just be careful trading, because it's going to be volatile. Okay? Well, have a great rest of your day tomorrow, and enjoy your trading day. Thanks. Have a great night. Bye. To subscribe, click the button in the right-hand corner. Thank you.